pocket pattern. There's the pant itself or the skirt, whatever it is, that has, like I said, this cutout piece. If you try to sew this, once you've cut it, if you try to sew this without putting your pocket in, you're not going to be able to, it's not going to have any hip space right there. You also have the actual pocket itself, and make sure that you pay attention to the notches here. They're going to help you out. So this is actually going to fill in, this space fills in the hip line right there. So that actually is the other part of the pocket, but we also need something to line this pocket. So this actually goes here and creates the pocket of fabric, right? So again, if you get stuck and can't remember, this is a pretty simple thing to put together, but it can be a little confusing. If you can't remember, just think about the end result. I cut 2 of these, but you guys only have to cut 1. We only need 1 sample. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the pocket and the pocket lining together. And so we're going to put right sides together, and we're going to sew just this curve. And it's going to be 1/4 of an inch. And again, if you can't remember that, look at your pattern. These lines tell you this is the 1/4 of an inch. It's 1/4 of an inch on the curve here, but a 1/2 inch on the sides. So you can clip into this, and then you're going to fold it over, and you're going to press this. Before you do that, you can press it away, I suppose. You're going to want to do understitching on it, so when you press it, the first time if you press it towards the pocket lining, right? So you're going to understitch. Again, understitching is keeping everything sort of on the inside. So you want to make sure that you're doing a 1/8 inch top stitch with the seam allowance and the facing, or the, in this case, the lining is the pocket lining. So just stitch nice and close. And we're going to be doing this on our pants pattern too, and I'll be checking for things like this. You know, not all pants have the understitching. I like to do it because I think it, like I said, keeps everything sort of inside. But you know, if you decide you don't like to see that or whatever, then that's a personal opinion. That's fine. I'm going to press it again to make that nice and crisp, that edge. And now I'm going to have to add my actual pocket to fill in the rest of my hip. Now these 2 pocket pieces are going to line up really nicely with their little like U-shaped spot here. And we're going to sew around the pocket first. So I'm going to sew the 2 pockets together. And those are also 1/4 of an inch. Less important about that because it's just the inside of the pocket, but it's referring to my pattern. And again, you guys use pins on this stuff if you need to. I always used pins up until just like a little while ago, so again, I really, it's a bad habit I have, but you should use pins. So you just do the curve, that little U-shaped pocket shape, and then you're going to flip it back to the right side. And you're going to see that this little piece kind of lines up nice and smoothly, but we're going to want to solidify this so it's not flopping around, so it acts as one piece when we go to sew our pants together. So we're just going to do stay stitching across the top here. So just within the seam allowance, and that's a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so we're just within that space, we're just going to do a row of stay stitching there, and also down the side as well. Now you don't have to go down the whole side if you don't want to. Sometimes I just do the little part that's overlapping, that's also fine. But just make sure that it's within the seam allowance. And then what would happen is my front pant would get sewn to my back pant, and this would all get caught into the seam. and then you have a nice little pocket. Same thing up here, your waistband would cover that up, and so pocket. And that's easy, much easier than some of the other things we do. Okay? So this will be for your notebook, which will be due